Ethics. We all have them and we all engage with them every day. But what are they exactly? And what role do they play in our lives? At their most basic, ethics are a set of principles or standards that inform our understanding of what is right and wrong. Our ethics help us decide how to navigate the world and behave in a way that is aligned with our beliefs. But most importantly, ethics ask us to consider how our choices and behaviors affect other people, the environment, and society as a whole. In other words, to be ethical is to consider more than just yourself when making a decision or deciding how to behave or respond to a situation. So what makes something ethical or unethical? Acting ethically means you consider the potential harms or effects of your behavior and decisions on more than just yourself, and you behave in a way that minimizes those potential harms to others. For example, let's say you see your neighbor accidentally drop $100 on the ground, which is exactly how much you need for a new pair of headphones you've had your eye on. Your neighbor didn't notice she dropped it, and no one is around to see you pick it up. But you also know your neighbor doesn't have a lot of money, so losing $100 would be really hard on her. She may not be able to pay her bills or afford her medication if you choose to keep that money. Most of us would agree that it wouldn't be ethical to keep the money even if no one knew you took it. Of course, it's not always that easy to figure out what the ethical thing to do is. In fact, people often disagree about what is and what isn't ethical. For example, now imagine that $100 was dropped by a rich executive instead of your neighbor. And instead of headphones, you could use the money to buy groceries for some families in your neighborhood that don't have enough to eat. Some people would say that it is never ethical to keep money that isn't yours, even if it wouldn't be missed, while others would say it is more unethical to let children go hungry. What you believe to be ethical is going to be based on your own personal beliefs, and what someone else believes to be ethical is going to be based on theirs, which is why we sometimes debate about what is and is not ethical. And that's also why some things that may have been okay in the past are no longer okay today. But remember, the root of all ethical behavior is considering how your choices are going to affect other people on the planet. And the first step to behaving ethically is to stop and consider what, if any, harm your choices will cause. Of course, it's impossible to live in a way that is 100% harm-free. Driving your car, for example, may cause pollution to the environment, but you still have to get to work. And sometimes doing what's right for one person may not be so great for someone else. Even if we can't be perfect, we can still think critically about our behavior and how it affects those around us and the planet. And we can all take the time to consider more than our own wants and needs. Considering others and living ethically is how we maintain harmony in our communities and environment. And it's essential for maintaining healthy relationships and building trust between people. It's never a bad idea to take a moment and make sure our behavior is aligned with our ethics. So go ahead, take a moment to think critically about some of your own choices and behaviors, and think about how they impact others and the environment.